Hello, hello. Welcome back to our ranking Coldplay series with our numbers 80 all the way down to 71. We're getting into it really now. By the end of this video, we'll only have 70 left. We'll have ranked 37 songs, 36 songs, something like that by the end of this video. No, 37 is right. My math is terrible apparently. Um, yeah, so let's get into it without much further ado. Song number 80 is People of the Pride from Music of the Spheres. And there's a lot that I like about this song. I think like we're pretty well past the part where there's like bad songs, right? Um I mean, at least if you're a Coldplay fan. If you're not, then whatever. I think that if your style of music is much more aligned with the song, you'd have it a lot higher. And that's actually what's funny is that like my style of music actually does a lot of times align with this, like musically, this style of song. I love Muse. I've seen Muse live, and I would love to see him again. Um, One of the best shows I've ever seen, and this song reminds me of Muse in like all the best ways, musically. But like outside of that, it is a song that's like two verses and a couple of choruses, and it feels like a song of this message, which is funny because like I've been told that this song apparently has been in the works, and they've been working on it for like a long time, like super long. So the political messaging may or may not be actually, I don't know, like it may not be what you think it is. I, I don't know. I'm not here to judge all that, but especially when it's not potentially as obvious as it seems, then like at that point it's like, okay, well, then I'm not really sure what the point of the song is, other than just to like not be controlled by the government, I guess, which is okay, that's cool, um. But yeah, it feels like a hype song with like a political message snuck in, which is kind of odd. And there's a couple of things that I really love about the music of the song, but it like the introduction I think is really really cool. The first like 30 seconds or whatever. Um, it's yeah about 30 seconds. Um, and the rest of it just feels like it's trying really hard to be like Muse. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing either when I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I like this. I'm always just like, yeah, but Muse does this like this is like their thing. This style of music is like a lot of what they do, not all of what they do, but a lot of what they do. This kind of a beat, this kind of, guitar riff and guitar tone. And so I like the vocal whatever vocal sounds like effects they have on Chris in this song. I like um, and like to me, you'll see this is number 80, so I'm not dinging this song like strongly for the one F word that it has in there. And there are other songs they have that have cussing in it that I haven't ranked yet. So I'm not being like a prude when I say like, why does the song need the F word? Um, if you wanted to like drive this song home politically, like a political message, then you're using one F word to do that. That seems kind of ineffective to me. Like when I think of someone using language to get across a political message, I think of Rage Against the Machine, and they don't have an F word in there. They have like 12. Like, it's like that's like a part of the point is to like try to wake you up and shock you into listening to the lyrics. That's not what they're doing here. It doesn't feel that way at least. It feels like it's just like, oh, there's an F word in there. It's kind of random. And it's like in the first verse, so it's in the very beginning, which makes you think, okay, this might be a little more edgy. It's not really. So it's like I don't know. There's a lot that I like about there's a lot that I like about the song, but overall, there's some small nitpicks I would have that kind of put it here. So let's get on to number 79, which is surprising for me. We Pray. I really like this song. I liked it a lot when it came out. And I my problems with it don't really stem from the fact that it's more like hip hop rap than what Coldplay usually does. My problems with it don't stem from any of the messaging in it. My problems don't stem from like the fact it doesn't sound a lot like Coldplay. Um, and I still like the song a lot. Like, let's get this straight. I'm a fan of Coldplay. I like the vast majority of their songs a lot. Um, but where I found myself putting it down here was because of the fact that a couple of things. Um, the bridge, I guess what it is what I would call it. It's like the second raps. It's the second feature, like the second guest feature, with the male. I don't want to get all these names wrong, so I'm not going to even start with any of that. But he's fine. He's really good when he's in the background, and he's not like he's bad. But it's just like lyrically, it feels like it kind of doesn't make sense to me. and it feels like they're trying to like slow it down. Um, I don't know. I'm not. It's like the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I don't like that one little bridge thing. Um, and it's not even him. It's just like it just is the bridge itself, and like lyrically, is some things that I'm not sure make sense to me. Maybe I'm just not understanding it. And just musically, I like the other two female guest singers much more. The first rap verse I like, and I like the girl in the background that's the woman in the background that's singing, like at the end of the male's rap portion, and like at the end of the last little part of the song, singing the la 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 part. Um, and the other thing is, this song has a really great guitar riff from Johnny Buckland, and you can hardly hear it. And it drives me crazy that you can hardly, and you can hear it if you have the song cranked up, especially at the end or at the very beginning. But like throughout the rest of the song, you don't hardly ever hear it. I wish it was a lot more prominent, and it reminds me a lot of, there's a Sting song that reminds me a lot of. I think it's really good. And the ending with just Chris and the piano, I think is really great. And I kind of wish like we had a little bit more of that, not to take away from the guest artists that are appearing, 'cause, overall, I thought they were pretty good. It's just like we come to Coldplay, and it's the thing. It's kind of like it's kind of like a push and pull of like I love Coldplay because of the four people in Coldplay, and first and foremost is for me is Chris Martin. I love what a lot of the other people do. Will Champion is incredibly underrated, and I think Johnny's also really underrated as a guitar player. But without Chris Martin, I don't know that they're not half as popular probably. And so, when we have a song like this, where you can see there's a lot of potential here, for it to be like an absolute all-time song, it's hard to not want more of that. I've said that before in a few other songs. I'm like, oh man, at the very end or the very beginning or just in this bridge, there's this little moment that I just love. I wish we had more of that. That's how I feel at the end of this song. The end of the song was just him and the piano. I was like, man, that is so good. It'd be cool to have a version like that. We maybe have like one of the guest vocalists come in and do like the rap verse or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. And it's as a Christian person, super cool to have a song from them talking about prayer and talking about just like the messaging I think is really good in the song. I really do. Like it's a lot about, talking about coming together and helping each other and like that's great. So I feel like I'm like again, a lot of these songs I really like them. It's just trying to find ways to put them above or below other ones. And so I've kind of laid out, I think, my argument for why I have it here. I was a little surprised. I thought I'd have a little bit higher, but here it is, 79. 78 is High Speed from Parachutes. If I didn't say it, obviously we praise from Moon Music, which is tough to say sometimes, especially if you have a stutter. So, 78 High Speed from Parachutes. I like it. It's a little too samey. That's my biggest complaint. I love the vibe of basically everything, not basically, actually everything from Parachutes. Um, it's one of the most consistent vibe albums. Like in terms of like the feel of the album is consistent, and a lot of the tones from the singing, from the guitar, from the whatever, like other instruments, they're consistent throughout the album, and I enjoy that when it's done really well. I think this is one of those examples of this album is. My issue is it's just kind of like it kind of stays in that. I've had this complaint before. It doesn't really do as much as what I want it to do with the dynamics of the song. Um, and a lot of that is just in Chris kind of just sitting in this like comfortable pocket. Um, and lyrically it's really simple as well, which like good lyrics, but like I would like a little bit more. Like it has a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, and then it has like the last like minute and a half almost is just like him saying high speed over and over again. And so it's like, okay, it feels like it's like three-quarters of a song. Like it's so close to being a full song. And like, it definitely is a full song. So I'm being again like I know I'm being nitpicky, but when you are ranking 107 songs, you kind of have to be that way. So good song. I like it. I really do. You'll see from my other Parachutes rankings, like where Parachute songs are going to be falling throughout this list. I'm a fan of Parachutes big time. So I think this is only the second song I've ranked from Parachutes, and we're at 78. So 77 is going to be X and Y from X and Y. And this one, again, I've had some of these complaints about from the last video, where you get into a um a song where it's like there's not a lot going on. It's also really strange that he talks about fixing something that's broken in this song, where "Fix You" is like a few songs earlier, and it just may be like something that was on his mind when he's writing some of these songs. It feels kind of like an EP, like a good EP song that like didn't make the album, but it did make the album. To give it some compliments, the guitar tone on this song I adore. It comes out of nowhere too, because the first verse is really quiet, and then as the second verse starts, you hear this like slide in on the guitar that is like just really, really nice. And again, like this song is it's good. It's just like feels like it doesn't have a full-fledged idea here. Um, like you have the two verses and then you have the chorus, and when the chorus does come in, I'm like, okay, this is a really good song. And then that's the rest of the song, as that's like all that's left. So like the chorus, you have like you have I'm sorry, you have one chorus, you have two verses and then a chorus, and then you have like a break into the like of like a 30-second like instrumental, uh, and then you have with a cool guitar solo, I might add, like a good guitar solo. Um, and then you go back into the chorus again one more time, and then it's over. And I like it. I just like would prefer. I think if it had a bridge, like if you take off, um, like I don't know if you take off like one of the choruses because I think they do a chorus back to back at the end. Um, take off a chorus maybe and add in a bridge because it's already a pretty long song. Which I don't mind long songs. You'll see I have some other songs that are way high that are long, but it's all about what you do with it. And this one here is, let's see, it's 4.5 minutes. Like, yeah, I think this could be a 5-minute song. It would be better actually. If you give me a really cool bridge, and again, the dynamic of this song kind of stays the same, even with the guitar solo in it. And usually, a song that has a guitar solo in it is not going to be just like sitting in this comfortable little pocket the whole time, and it does. So, again, good song. Just trying to explain kind of why I don't like just love this song. Okay, next 76. We Never Change from Parachutes. Um, and I have a lot of the exact same complaints that I had with High Speed and a lot of the same praise. Okay. It's a 4-minute song and kind of just sits in this comfortable pocket. Now, the reason why I have this song two songs higher is because the acoustic guitar in this song is really, really nice. I really like it. It just like it has a lot of stuff on this album, which is part of why I don't have this higher because there are other songs I think do this better. Um, from this album. And so I kind of have pushed those up higher and kept this one a little bit lower. Um, but really like the uh the acoustic, like I said. The other thing that I like a lot is I think that this song's like the lyrics in the song I think are really well crafted for a song that is just kind of like a mellow, almost kind of melancholy. In terms of the music, it's melancholy and mellow, and the lyrics and the way that Chris sings the lyrics matches that really well. And so, like, I think it more is more appropriate for like everything works together as a more collective whole than what I've talked about other songs. I've mentioned how some of the early songs that I ranked, they like were supposed to be sad and melancholy and whatever else, and they just didn't do certain things in a way that I felt like worked well for that approach and that specific purpose for the song. And we're getting into a spot where they're the songs that I'm ranking now are doing it better, doing it really well. We're just not at the spot. There's a few songs that I have really high that I'm like, this is perfection when you're talking about a sad, sappy, melancholy kind of type of song. And so we're getting better. We're getting a lot better. And this is a good example of that. So let's look at 75, Hurts Like Heaven. I really like this song actually. It's a fun opening to a really good album. My problem is it is obviously a little cheesy, and that's really the biggest thing is that it's kind of cheesy. And I realized when I was ranking some of these songs, you'll see some other songs coming up in the next few episodes that are also similar opening. And it feels like this album, as well as Head Full of Dreams, Music of the Spheres, and Moon Music, those four albums specifically, it feels like that. And it was, just to kind of take a second to explain why those four and not the two. There's just those four were kind of back to back to back to back, except for Ghost Stories, which was and then Everyday Life. And Ghost Stories was written in a weird spot where Chris had just broken up with Gwyneth Paltrow or whoever broke up with who. I'm not trying to get into all that, but so there was that album was written obviously in a very different headspace, and then Everyday Life was intentionally supposed to be a much more artistic, much more like a very different a kind of album from them. And so these other four though, it feels like this is the first one where it's like okay, it almost feels like they're crafting their album for a live not recording, but I mean they've recorded some of these, but for a live audience. And to have like a really energetic opening song is like all four of those albums that I mentioned have at least one, if not two, back-to-back really energetic opening songs. And so I just felt like, wow, I really like this song. I really love the like verse, the second verse, I think it is. Yeah, second verse when he talks about I feel a little bit nervous and he like sounds nervous. I love when singers can emote strong enough and well enough to have you sense and feel the emotion that they're talking about experiencing, or just in an appropriate manner. Like if they're talking about a sad song and you can feel their sadness, that kind of thing. Love that. But I feel like there's a couple of similar songs from Coldplay in similar spots in an album, like the first one or two songs that do the same thing, just like a notch up, just like take it and make it all a little bit better. And so that's part of why it's here. And this is like good is to me these are like good songs. These are all good songs. I enjoy them. They're good. I'm not like, oh, you know what song I love? Hurts Like Heaven. Like it's good. I enjoy it. If it was not as cheesy, it would probably be five spots higher. The idea of like Hurts Like Heaven is kind of like I don't know. It's not terrible. There's worse. There's more cheesy lyrics that we've talked about, but it's cheesy. All right, 74 is Magic from Ghost Stories. This one's fallen, I think, a little bit from where I had it when I first did the ranking. And part of it is the like you add two pretty good albums from Music of the Spheres and Moon Music since I last ranked any of these for my own no, I did that for my own amusement and now I'm doing that for my own amusement plus five other people that will watch this. So uh Magic, though, part of what it is I realized part of what bothers me about this song. First of all, when it first came out, I really liked it. I still really like it. Um, the idea of like the idea behind the song, I think, is really interesting. And that like things are messed up between us in this relationship, but like I still love you. And like, I'm gonna express that in an artistic way by talking about the magic of our relationship and the magic that you have as a person that I love and that kind of thing. I think it's just a really cool way to express that. Um, and so, Chris Martin could sing anything poorly and I'd still love it because he's just, great. But um, I do, um, I noticed that it feels like it's kind of in the middle in terms of the vibe and the emotion. It's like then because there's another song that I have ranked higher that I think is similar in its intention. It doesn't execute as well. This one doesn't execute as well. So what I mean, I don't want to explain too much because I don't want to spoil where I have that song later. But for this song, I feel like it's like bittersweet. It's like nostalgic and like happy about having experienced this love and talking about how great it is, but also being like sad. And so the way that they're expressing it in this situation, like throughout the song, is lyrically, obviously, of course, and that works fine to me. That's not a problem. But Chris's singing is like always just kind of like on the low end of his register, not like low, like where he can really get pretty low, but like on the low end of his normal register. He's not singing like really full, I guess. Doesn't sound like it. It's just kind of like easy and comfortable. and I don't love that. I will say when he gets into the bridge, of course I love bridge. Um, uh, and the bridge is really good. And it's when Chris goes into the falsetto, and then he comes into a chorus again, staying in the falsetto. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And with that, like the guitar comes in really good. There's like a nice little guitar riff. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here, this is Coldplay. This is what I like. This is what I want to see. This is this is what I want to hear. Um, and then there's like a minute left of the song, and so it's like, okay, this could be better. It's good. It could be better. I also, of course, the electric drum throughout this album. Not every single time you'll see. I have a couple of songs from this album ranked very highly, but there's a lot of times where the electric drum just kind of gets my nerves a little bit. But if more of this, and I do understand you can't have the entire song be the same way that the bridge and the chorus, bridge and last chorus of this song are, because then you wouldn't feel as much emotion from it because you didn't build to it. I understand that, but when you're in a 4 minute and like 45 second song, and only like a minute of it is like the part that you're less than that really is the part that you're like, this is really what I want. I just feel like you could maybe extend that a little bit more and find ways to like um make that build quicker, or more interesting and dynamic, like Fix You. Fix You takes a long time to get going, but you're enjoying that song until you get there. And so, the end, I like a lot. When they bring it back down, and he's like, if you were to ask me after all that we've been through, do you still believe in magic? Yes, I do. And it's like that's relationship right there. Okay, let's get into the next song. I'm done talking. I've been talking way too long about these songs. Next, Don't Let It Break Your Heart. I really like this song. The guitar on it is really fun. Nice like driving like fist pump, like you want to just go be there live and just like pump along with um the drum beat, because it's a nice steady drum beat. The guitar tone I love. My real problem with it is that like it feels like a transition song in good ways, but it just still feels like a transition song. Um, and it's long for that purpose, and I don't think that is the purpose of the song. Don't get me wrong. Um, but it also, the way that it ends makes me like really want to hear the next song, which is a testament more to the next song than it is to this song, because it ends in a way that like really well sets up for the next song. Something, okay, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Now I'm ready to hear the next song. I'm not like, hey, let's go back and hear this song again. So it's like it kind of undercuts it a little bit, and that's not a huge negative. It's just a little small slight. There's a lot to love about this song. Um, Again, like I said, the guitar and the drums carry this song. Um, Really fun, really good song. Um, so the next song on the album is my next song on the ranking. Uh, and I have like again, so because of the fact that they kind of feel like they just go together. It feels like there should just be one song that like transitions, kind of like the Rainbow song from Moon Music, where it's like there's like multiple things happening here, and it just kind of transitions really seamlessly. These two songs, if you don't like look at if you're in the car or on your phone or whatever, don't look at when it changes, you won't really be able to tell unless there's like a delay and when the track changes over. If you're like listening to it on a record, it would just like flow right through. And it's like this is nice, but it's two songs though. So it's like I don't know how to separate the things I like about each and the things that I maybe might have a little bit of a takeaway from, or like not takeaway, like things that I might not enjoy as much. And again, the guitar tone on this one, when it comes in, the guitar comes in like really strong in about like the 50-ish second mark. Um, and lyrically, I really like this song a lot too. It's just simple. And so because of that simplicity, it's like hard for me to be like, I love this song. I want to have it in the top 20 or top 30. Um, and so because of that, I have it lower on the album. But like this is a strong song. This is probably by a good bit my favorite song of these that we've ranked so far. So, um, And then we only have one more left, and I give this last one some credit for its uniqueness and creativity because I think that like I've talked about. Here we go. First, let me putting the cart before the horse a little bit. We have 71 is broken from everyday life, and I think that like what this song deserves credit where I haven't given it in other songs, not just from this album, but just in general. There's other songs that like you're like, man, that's really unique for Coldplay. It's really different for what they usually do. If you dive into their full discography, what you as if you were a more casual Coldplay fan, what you like just think in your head they sound like, they don't sound like that all the time, obviously, but they don't even sound like that. Um, as much as you would assume a band like that would. And so there's been some songs earlier that I've ranked where I've been like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like Coldplay, and that's not that big of a deal, but they don't really do it, they don't execute it as well as I would like them to. And this is not that kind of song. This song, they take on a different style of song, kind of like a more gospel-y, like I don't know, and they execute it to perfection, I think. I think it is exactly like what it's supposed to be. So like my problems with the song are more just like it intentionally, I think, feels kind of like a transitional song. It's a creative song on a creative album. It's only about 2 minutes to 15, something like that, 2:30. Um, I really like it. I really do. But like it's only like maybe a minute. I'm trying to think of like when does the actual singing start? About 15 seconds, and then the singing ends at a minute 50. So it's like a minute and a half, a minute four what's that, minute 35 of singing, and then there's like some harmonizing and like humming and stuff. And other stuff to kind of pad it out a little bit, which I don't have a problem with that. But my point is to like this feels like a really great transitional song and that they've found a way to bulk it out to make it feel more like a real song in terms of the length. And like so it's not really a negative, but that is part of my reason for putting it here. Um, it's not what I love about Coldplay, but they do it really well. And it feel probably probably my number one thing about the song that I really really love is when you listen to it, it feels like you had like a house party where you like had some people over to like have pizza and play games or something, or like you invited your friends over, your family, whatever. And Chris Martin heard you were having a party and just like stepped in and said, "Hey guys, check out this song that I'm working on." And he sits down at your piano and plays this little song and teaches you the harmony parts and like it feels like he was, stopped by your church and said, "Oh, you have choir practice? I have this cool little choir song that I'm working on. Here, let me teach you the parts." Like it just feels like, and that's really cool to me. Okay, so that's like the fact that that song is just on a Coldplay album, and it just feels like he just got a group of people that sing this style of music together and said, "Hey, I have this idea. Do you want to, help me with it?" And that's pretty cool. It just, again, small nitpicky type things, not even nitpicky, just like explanations as to why this is not, you know, number 40, it's number 71. So, but with that, we're done with this episode. Next week, 70 down to 61. Again, please let me know in the comments your thoughts on any of these songs. You have them higher, you have them lower. It's easy to say, oh, I'd have that higher. Go rank the songs. It's easy to have an opinion without actually like, 'cause, all the time as people, as humanity, we do this like, oh, that's the top 10 movie for me, a top 10 song for me, a top 10 whatever. Actually do the numbers, and it's harder than it looks. Um, and maybe that will be a top 15, not top 10, but that's the point. But let me know also if you have any suggestions of any bands or artists that I should do after Coldplay if you're interested in that. But other than that, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.